Welcome to Trademark Insiders, the business and marketing podcast brought to you by Kogut and Cannon. We are Mary Kogut Lowell and Mary Cannon, national trademark attorneys, brand consultants, and business coaches. Join us to get the insider's perspective on all things business, marketing, and intellectual property.
Today we'll be discussing yet another potential legal clash between two tech giants, X Corp and Meta Platforms. In our last episode, we brought you the cease and desist letter that Twitter's parent company X Corp sent to Mark Zuckerberg's Meta Platforms, accusing Meta of stealing Twitter's intellectual property with their new app Threads. And so far, Threads has been wildly successful, in sharp contrast with Twitter, which is facing unprecedented losses under Musk's leadership and control. Well, guess what? The plot thickens. Could yet another intellectual property dispute be brewing between Twitter and Meta? Well, Twitter's recent rebranding announcement as X may have hit a roadblock, as Meta appears to already hold certain rights to X when it comes to social media. And that's not all. Microsoft also holds certain rights to the same letter, as do upwards of at least 100 companies, making it a less than ideal choice as a replacement for the iconic Twitter brand. So let's go ahead and dive into the details of this intellectual property tussle and what it means for these tech companies.
I'll just come right out and say it. I don't like Elon Musk, and I don't like a lot of the things he's doing. I think this is some kind of billionaire bad boy power move where he took Twitter's brand equity and set billions of dollars on fire just because he can.
Yeah, it at the very least, it didn't seem like it was a well thought out move. It doesn't seem like Musk did any of the things that we recommend for protecting a brand. And it seems like an impulsive idea that really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Because really, when you think of the Twitter brand, the bird with the blue background, that is one of the most iconic and recognizable brands on the market today. And that's extremely valuable. So why switch to X? Why this abrupt shift when you've got a super valuable trademark? I frankly don't understand it, but it does seem rather impulsive and petulant.
Well, it's not completely impulsive in that Elon Musk has had this attachment to the letter X for a long time. And when he purchased Twitter, he made it clear from the get-go that he wanted to use this Twitter purchase to create something he had had a dream of for some time, a social network called X that would be the do everything network. But it still doesn't make sense to just send the Twitter brand up in smoke like this, especially without taking the time to look into some of these other companies like Meta and Microsoft who already hold trademark protection for the letter X in the field of tech and in social media.
Right, I agree, and it's true. He has had a history of using that X, and in fact, I think he named at least one of his children X. So he does obviously have some sort of attachment to X. But again, from a business perspective, to me, for the very reasons we've been talking about, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Since 2019, Meta has owned a federal trademark covering a blue and white letter X in the fields of entertainment, gaming, and application development. So as we've talked about before, trademarks are all about source identification. So if there is existing a trademark for X in connection with online social networking services, it seems like there is at least a strong possibility of some sort of legal challenge along the line.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if maybe he did that on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's accusing Meta and Zuckerberg of stealing his trade secrets, coming after his intellectual property. So it's almost like tit for tat. Maybe he was aware of the X trademark owned by Meta that would actually make this even more interesting.
Interesting is definitely a word for it. And of course, as we mentioned, Microsoft has owned an X trademark. That's since 2003. And that is in reference to communications about its Xbox video game system. So all of these are tech related. But to me, the Meta trademark is the one that I think is the most likely to have been infringed by this move.
Beyond Meta and Microsoft, there are potentially hundreds of marks out there involving the letter X. When you take something like that, that's so muddy and complicated compared to the Twitter name and the Bluebird logo, it's really shocking to think of someone throwing those out the window in favor of such a generic mark.
I agree. It really kind of, even though yes, Elon Musk has used the X in connection with other activities in the past, it still just doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense from a trademark perspective. It just, you don't throw away something as valuable as an iconic mark like Twitter.
So if Elon were to try to go to the US Patent and Trademark Office and attempt to register X, as in X.com, the new Twitter, what are some of those requirements for uniqueness and distinctiveness for trademark registration? And how do you think Elon would fare at the USPTO?
As we've talked about before, when you register a trademark, you have to pick the class or classes to which it belongs. And so if you're going to trademark or try to register an X in connection with social media, then the trademark examining attorney is going to look. And by the way, I did just a quick review. There are, as you said, literally hundreds of different X registrations in different classes. But there's going to be a focus on did anybody else register in the class involving social media? And obviously, Meta is going to come up. So I think it's going to come up as a roadblock right away, if X Corporation tries to go ahead and register the trademark, which it may or may not do. Trademarks are categorized based on specific goods or services that they represent. So in this case, Meta's registration specifically includes online social network services and other related fields. So that's pretty much on target. So if Twitter intends to use the X logo for social networking purposes similar to those registered by Meta, there could arguably be a risk of confusion among consumers or an argument that Twitter's use encroaches on Meta's registered categories.
Yes, I think there's no doubt that these services are similar, and it's obvious that there are potential legal challenges on the horizon if the two continue to be using the same symbol, X, as a source identifier in the same market, social media. That's what makes this such a confounding decision by Musk, on top of simply the financial considerations there. So the ultimate question then is whether consumers may be confused as to the source of these social media services, as long as the two are laying claim to the same letter, X.
Exactly. I agree. That is the ultimate question here. And Twitter might face negative publicity and criticism if it appears to be infringing on other companies' intellectual property rights or engaging in a contentious legal battle. But on the flip side of that, there are people who say, any mention in the news is good, so.
Certainly, Elon Musk is very effective at staying in the news, although I've noticed the public perception of him is in a major downward slide. A lot of information is coming out that is making people uncomfortable. Some of the deception and other accusations as related to his car company. There have been, a lot of safety concerns, false advertising, allegations that he used bots to play up the popularity of his cars beyond what it really was. It's all kind of snowballing into a less than favorable reputation for Musk.
Right. And I know when we did our previous podcast about the cease and desist letter, that was now it just looks like it's the beginning. And as you say, now it's snowballing. And here's another potential legal tussle that may be brewing. Now, I know I've been trying to keep my eye on this, and so far I haven't seen any updates from Meta in response to this particular rebranding. Have you?
They have that in their back pocket. So it is important to aggressively protect your trademark, but it's still been, just a matter of days at this point.
Right. So it'll be interesting to watch in the coming days and weeks what exactly happened. But let's talk about some possible future outcomes. Let's say that Meta does challenge this. What could happen? Let's see, in terms of negotiations, settlements, or potential changes. Let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, I think the likelihood of negotiations between Twitter and Meta will depend on the willingness of both sides to find a resolution. So that remains to be seen. Oh, and if the conflict escalates, Meta may choose to send a cease and desist letter. Does that sound familiar?
Mm-hmm.
What else? What else do you think might happen?
Well, X Corp could negotiate with Meta and obtain licensing rights for the name X, or explore some other options to try to resolve the dispute and avoid litigation. Personally, if it were me, I would go back to being Twitter, but that's just me. The outcome is going to depend on a number of factors, including the strength of Meta's trademark registration and the degree of similarity between the logos and the services, and just the decisions made by both companies in the days to come.
And to me, the bottom line in this, I was thinking about this case, and I would point to this rebranding as almost a worst case scenario. A good example of what a company shouldn't do. Maybe X Corp has sufficient wherewithal, sufficient resources to handle potential legal challenges. But this is why it's so important for businesses before undergoing a rebranding, or even before adopting a brand if they're starting out. It's really important to do a thorough search and see if out there some other company is using a similar, has a similar mark in the same or related class, because that can definitely lead to legal challenges.
It's actually shocking that this even happened.
Yeah.
But I have to assume that Musk has a legal team who probably told him all of this, and he just said, screw it, I'm going to do what I want.
I think you're probably right. So if nothing else, it'll be fun to see how this develops. I have the feeling we haven't heard the end of this story yet. Thank you for listening to the Trademark Insiders podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Remember, trademarks are an essential part of building and protecting your brand, and our goal is to provide you with the knowledge and insights you need to succeed. Visit us at trademarkinsiders.com for more information. And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast to stay up to date on the latest trends, news, and strategies in the world of trademarks. Protect your brand, protect your business, and join us next time for more insider tips and tricks on Trademark Insiders.
Thank you for listening to Trademark Insiders, the podcast for entrepreneurs and business leaders looking to level up their game.
That's right. And today we've got something special for our listeners. If you're an entrepreneur craving that extra boost in productivity, energy, and creativity, you are in for a treat.
Running a business can be tough, and we are always on the lookout for ways to sharpen our minds and stay on top of our game.
Well, that's where Dose by Mind Honey comes in. It's a brain-boosting mushroom supplement that's been getting some serious buzz lately.
I have been hearing so many success stories from fellow entrepreneurs who swear by this stuff.
Same here. The key ingredient in Dose by Mind Honey is lion's mane mushroom, known for its ability to enhance cognitive function and improve focus.
Lion's mane is like a secret weapon for any business leader. It helps you stay sharp during those long days, and we know how crucial it is for business success.
Absolutely. And you know what's even better? Dose by Mind Honey has other powerful mushrooms, cordyceps and reishi.
Oh yeah, cordyceps. That's the one that supports physical performance and boosts energy, right?
You got it. Imagine having the mental clarity from lion's mane combined with the physical endurance from cordyceps. Game changer for sure.
But wait, there's more, right?
Dose by Mind Honey also contains reishi mushrooms, which are famous for reducing stress and promoting a sense of calm.
Dose by Mind Honey can be a total game changer, boosting your productivity, energy, and creativity. We love it.
But don't just take our word for it. Try it yourself. Head over to shrooms.trademarkinsiders.com to get your hands on Dose by Mind Honey.
Always consult with a healthcare professional before starting any new supplement. Individual results may vary. This podcast is not sponsored by or affiliated with Mind Honey or the mentioned website. The product is promoted.
That's so good.